Getting closer to trade deadline day, Friday, 3 p.m. In the meantime, we still play hockey. Welcome to the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We are live on Sportsnet 360, 590 The Fan in Toronto, streaming always on Sportsnet Plus. Also available Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube, where we always enjoy the chats with our very loyal listeners and watchers. Mm-hmm. And every once in a while, we hear from someone very respected in the field of journalism. Send us a nice note.
Yes. Yeah, a nice note from our pal, Mr. Brunt, before the show. So thank you very much for that. It meant a lot.
All right. Game day, in the meantime, for the Toronto Maple Leafs, which...
Big one tonight.
Big
game. 0.9% chance to make the playoffs. Big game tonight, boys.
Didn't feel anything towards the trade deadline, at least when it came to Craig Berube's lineup Saturday against Ottawa. Didn't feel anything towards the trade deadline Monday against Philadelphia. But tonight we feel a lot on the trade deadline with his lineup tonight against New Jersey.
With roster management, they will be sitting out Bobby McMahon, Scott Laughton, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. All three in the press box. I don't know who they're going to dress. I guess Robertson, Yarncroc come in. Not sure who plays defense. If they're going to go 7.
Stetcher comes in.
So they just go 11-7 maybe tonight.
Or 11-6.
Right. So anyway, we'll see what they're going to do with that. That's still unclear. But hey, this is our first declaration of a direction. We thought that they would sell, but I actually wrote an article today being like, if they're serious about making playoffs next year, they've got a case to keep some of these guys and do very little. And so if they are going to sell them, I think big picture, it's the right thing to do. But yeah, they're going to do it.
We have a trade today with a defenseman, fairly prominent defenseman, at least when we're talking about first and second round picks. Those guys can sometimes move the needle for hockey clubs. Tyler Myers out of Vancouver goes to Dallas. We knew of the pending trade to Detroit. He wanted some options, clearly holding out for Dallas, and they pulled the trigger. A second and a fourth, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, second and a fourth. I think the fourth's in, a couple of years. But that's interesting. So now we've had two trades. Michael McCarron went for a second, and
which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, and then Myers getting a second plus.
Did he set a market for 3+ fourth line guys?
Well, if this is the case, I actually feel like both these deals work in the Leafs' favor.
Makes you feel a lot better about Scott Laughton's chances of getting a second rounder if McCarron went.
Yeah, if McCarron's a second, right. Laughton's significantly way more valuable than that. And then what's McMahon then? If that's another year up for a 20-goal guy.
I think McCarron, I haven't watched him play a ton, but he's
tough.
Monster. I think he's got good percentages on the draw, good fourth line guy, tough, fits right in with that Wild. People were making him out to be a total grunt. I think he does have some value, but watching these trades come in, it did surprise me a little bit with the prices.
So Minnesota, paid a second, for him, which everything I've gathered was very aggressive and very generous of Bill Guerin. Mm-hmm. But let's face it, Bill Guerin staring down a first round, a very tough first round, which we believe could be Dallas.
Yeah, probably.
Right?
It's as of right now, it's Dallas.
So he's overspending for some toughness and for some size and being able to intimidate maybe a few of those guys. But I don't know if the rest of the league looks at that and goes, oh, you know what? You set the bar on those type of guys, or they just look at him and go, what are you, nuts? A second rounder?
Yeah. You're certainly any deal that's made, you can do that with. Literally any trade ever, you can go, well, that one doesn't count.
So we believe Oliver Ekman-Larsson is a much better overall player. He can offer more, meaning that you better do better than a second and a fourth. Mm-hmm. You agree?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw an article. Paul Paduti is on. I don't know if I'm saying the last name right. Sorry, pal. I was on Daily Face-Off, and it's about the value of a first rounder. Typically, when first rounders get traded this time of year, it's late firsts, right? Like almost exclusively,
Sure.
It's the final
25 to 30.
Exactly. It's the best teams in the league trading a first for a guy to help now.
Those guys don't have first rounders to give anymore.
But those guys, and even if you take it to 20 then, whatever, the playoff teams, those picks are not that different than early seconds, like 25th to 40th picks. So this perception of a first rounder, I think the point I'm trying to make is if you could get 2 seconds, maybe that's more valuable than this first. Everyone wants to see the number 1. It feels like a management win, right? They got a first. I just don't know if the actual value is that different from. So for OEL, would you want to get 2 seconds instead of a first?
I believe that I want to get as close as I can just to have that option. And there are many examples of the one we gave yesterday where Robert Thomas is sitting there late, exactly in the area that you speak of, and the Leafs go with Liljegren over him, and other teams would have said, God, if we were only 10 spots up or 5 spots up, or that's always the danger.
They've run through this work the last 13 years, and guys picked in these spots back to 40. It's the same thing. You go to the 40th spot and say
it's throwing darts.
Yeah, you got Pasternak at 40th, or you got those guys that are back there. Totally. I compared it to choosing the ice cream flavor you like because it's all ice cream.
First round pick still. And you just got to trust that you have the right people in charge in terms of scouting and, talk to our boy Bukala. Like, you can find gems. You just have to do the work on it. And you have to,
Of course, earlier is better. I'm not saying earlier is not better.
I look at Oliver Ekman-Larsson and you look at what he is, right? He is a pedigree defenseman who can play with some snarl, is having a career offensive year, and even has a little extra term on his contract. To me, that is stock first round pick and a prospect. Like that's been traded at the deadline for my whole life. When I was back watching Kyper and when I was in college watching Kyper on the trade deadline show. That's since then to now, that has been a stock first round pick and a prospect. And if they don't get that for him, I think you'd be disappointed. Like, I understand your point, but the first still carries something. And even if you're going to flip it, the cachet of a first round pick still carries so much more than a second.
But that's the argument you're making in terms of using these picks. Cachet is something you're selling, which means it doesn't actually have the value. You'd rather have 2 darts in this cluster of guys.
Depends what you're trying to do. If you're Kyle Dubas did that forever here. And in terms of trading down and having extra picks, and then he took the wrong guys multiple times.
This is 1 pick or 2 picks. This is not trading draft position. And I just think it's a matter of, you're right. What do you want to do for a team with, I know higher, but a team has no assets? I think it's debatable. Anyway.
As I mentioned earlier, the feel for Craig Berube's lineup is much different tonight than what we saw the last 2 games. There was a sense up until just a little while ago that we were probably going to see a similar lineup from Monday. But so how is this a surprise? Is this a feel that did we all feel like this was inevitable, that they were just going to pull 3 guys out of the lineup?
No, I'm shocked. I wrote today that I could see them trying to win next year and not doing this. I said they could extend both guys forwards.
Let's just play this morning. Yeah. Clip 1, Derek, from Morning Skate, New Jersey today.
Is it possible that you guys will sit a guy for roster management over the next 2 days here with potential for things to happen?
Not tonight, but it could happen, obviously. But it's not going to happen tonight.
So I was coming here today prepared to bury them for that.
Okay. Forget about us. What's going on with them?
I'd like to say that in the 2 hours between that question and the decision to do this, 3 trades have arisen of interest, but I think they just changed their mind. On the fly. To your point, so you're saying,
I don't want to do this, but I'm about to do it.
No.
Did Mark Masters remind them at Morning Skate?
No.
Okay.
He did not.
No,
okay.
But they changed their mind.
No. Let's not go
into
vague.
anything like
Let's
that.
go maybe one person.
Brad.
And then he had to change Craig's mind. Boys, it doesn't sound like they woke up this morning and they were on the same page, is my whole point in this.
But, in this situation, Berube, it's, need-to-know basis sort of thing, right?
No. never the case all year. They were a tandem. They were together. I could argue at the beginning of the season, once the dust settled and it was Brad Treliving and Craig Berube, he had as much or more power than any head coach in the National Hockey League. He was up there. He was right there with Brad.
All right, so
they had a 1-2 punch.
So let's pretend that Berube still has that same cachet internally, that same, you're using that word a lot today. Then that would mean that he also had his mind changed. So that they sat down this afternoon and said, and called an audible and said, all right, let's do it. Let's trade these guys. Like they didn't want to this morning and today they do?
It sounds like somebody got talked into something.
Was it external?
And listen, that's
Sam is stunned.
that's just me watching this from afar.
Yeah.
Kipper, that was said this morning at like 11:45 a.m. It's 4 p.m.
So what happened between then and now that Craig goes, okay, I'm in?
It's not, had it been a trade, like a trade was close, it would be for one of these guys or maybe two. Like a thing came up, hey, we're going to sit out OEL. We're close on something with someone. This is like, we have decided to trade all three guys. Let's sort it out. Keep them out of the lineup. The only case I'll make for them here's the case I'll make for them. You don't know for sure if you're going to trade these guys or not, maybe. But you know you need them healthy if you are. So this is maybe not a, hey, we're definitely trading these guys so much as a, hey, we want to make sure we have all options available to us. This is the safer, smarter thing to do. And losing is fine. We don't care if we lose.
I would say that for the first time in a little while here, I'm much less disillusioned about the Toronto Maple Leafs when I saw that tweet.
Well, they're doing something.
Well, they're just, without announcing, I mean, I saw Luke Fox on JD's show today talking about it like they haven't announced a plan or they haven't talked about like what they're trying to do or that they still believe that they're like could have a 20-game winning streak or something. Mm-hmm. But seeing them do this is like, okay, it's an admission of where they're at and that they're willing to do something to make it better going forward or whatever. Like it's something for the first time in a while, which is exciting, I would say.
I just don't, from afar, I just don't like that it looks like they're not on the same page.
It has looked like that. That's been the debate about disconnect. And you wrote something about this, or we talked about it, and we heard from them about disconnect.
How many examples have we seen this, either through injuries or I don't know, a few other situations, incidences over the course of the season where you're like, you guys talk to each other?
Have offices nearby or something? Yeah. It's funny because I want to laud the deal. Or the decision. I want to give it praise, but it does, the way it's coming about here doesn't make you feel super confident that they've got a clear direction. So now I guess we just sit and wait.
Outside of that, we still have some other names that are being floating around. What, Sammy?
Is it possible that two of these guys go to the same team, or is it all separate?
Listen, the Edmonton Oilers are out there, and they want another defenseman.
Mm-hmm. Howard, then.
And they want Bob Stauffer, I think, has floated around third line centerman type in the $2 to $3 million range. Well, hey, there's Nick Waugh.
Oh, yeah. Well, or what about Lawton?
Lawton.
Would they do Lawton and OEL for Howard? You know.
Okay. I don't want Howard. No Howard, please.
Why not?
What is he, 5'9"?
Yeah.
Please.
I don't know.
Come on. He's played 20 games. Can't play 20 games for the Edmonton Oilers this year.
Good.
Okay.
Good, Kip. Yeah.
I don't know. Just me off the top of my head.
Totally. What else you got?
Just, please get somebody bigger than that.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm
okay.
fine with that.
All right.
Hold on. Before you move on. What if they trade all three of these guys? Are you okay with that plan?
Listen, I am 100% on assets. When I speak, I've often spoke of what I think they're thinking, and I don't even think that sitting these guys and trading them would waver off the fact that they think that they can come back and make the playoffs next year.
Yeah.
Right?
Me too. I think that they think, hey, these guys are reasonably replaceable. Maybe we'll have assets to do it with.
Yeah. But I've proven I can't win with these guys anyways. So, yeah, move them. I can still be in the bottom of the Atlantic without them too.
Right.
That's the exact.
Well said. Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the huge reasons I want everybody to go. It's like,
This doesn't work.
this sucks. I've watched 60 games of this crap, and I haven't enjoyed it.
You know what does bother me? The team is a little slow, and it's like McMahon can skate. OEL gets around nice. It's not slow.
No.
As I said yesterday, the good news is once these bodies start moving, and you're forced to play other players, including Easton Cowan. So very good chance we'll see more than 8 minutes tonight.
Well, let's say they have charted a course here. Maybe Cowan becomes a guy who's now top 6 power play guy. You know, like maybe they're going to start doing everything differently. Today's the day. They woke up, new me, new year, new Leafs.
It's just after the Chinese New Year.
Yeah, I was looking for some
Lunar New
reference there.
Year. Yeah,
that would have worked.
We're good to go. Let's play the Easton Cowan thing because you can hear the coach's tone in this clip. Clip 4.
Well, his minutes, his minutes were up earlier on in the year. He was playing with different lines and doing different things in different nights, right, with teammates. So, I sat him out. I thought he hit a wall. He sat out a few games. We won those 3 games, and I went with the same lineup coming out of the break, and he's back in now. Now, I know he didn't get a lot of minutes last game, but I will get his minutes up.
That's interesting.
He's feeling he's sick at it.
But he made a passionate defense for himself there.
Yeah.
Which got no problem with him doing.
Anything interesting from OEL on potentially being traded? You
Definitely.
like this clip?
Well, I mean, he's got a extremely pregnant wife in Toronto right now, I think so. They kind of asked him about that, and then he kind of gave his answer towards the end. So let's play that clip from Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Oh, okay. Maybe I failed to do that.
Okay.
I thought it was there. It's there.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to leave that personal stuff out of it, just for my wife's sake, and she got a lot to think of or about at this times. But yeah, I mean, I think you forget that at times that you have other stuff going on in your life too, but. Like I said, I think we're just focusing on controlling what we can control and go from there.
Who have we had on the show who told their wife in in labor in the hospital that they were traded?
Eddie Olchuk.
That's who it is.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he's got the best story
and
ever.
She knew when he was in.
Yep.
Came in. It
He
was
took a phone call
in the delivery room.
Wow.
He knew he had gotten traded.
How do I miss that story? I forget
she's
that one.
in the middle of
Gotta get him back on.
right in the middle of delivering the baby, and she says, "Where are we going?
Where are we going?" And it wasn't at Winnipeg.
Oh yeah, it
Whoa.
was most definitely Winnipeg.
From where?
From Toronto.
Oh yeah, right. Give me a check.
From Toronto.
There's both. I think you've made this point, Bourne, but I think it's worth reiterating that it sucks that the Oliver Ekman-Larsson experience and the Scott Laughton experience, both of these guys feel like the right guy at the wrong time. Just a little late in the process here.
Wish you could have picked them up 3-4 years ago instead of, I don't know, Edmondson and Lafferty or something. That'd have been.
Edmondson, I didn't mind either.
That was a bad example. I liked him.
I really liked him.
Yeah, Edmondson
They
could
had
play.
him 50% retained too.
He was playing like 20 minutes and then for the Leafs they lost in the
All right,
first
bad
round.
example.
Labushkin?
No, I liked him too.
Yeah, okay. It's just both of these guys, and they just played with a lot of heart. And I watched that game, the last game the Leafs played. Who was it? It was Philly. And Bunkus pointed this out to me on the Leafs Talk, and it's one thing I noticed. Laughton's in Cowan's ear, and he's talking to him, and he's just a great guy
Everyone
to have
loves this
around.
guy.
It sucks. They're just going to have to trade him, and he's not going to be back. And it's just
there is a small window. I would hope that if he agrees to be traded, he's not guaranteeing the other club that he's going to sign a 4-year deal. I don't know if you're going to give up a second or a third for Laughton. That's rental.
Has it ever happened?
He could come back.
Where guys come back? I know, but it just never happened.
I know.
Aroldis Chapman did it in baseball.
Okay.
Got traded to the Cubs and then signed with the Yankees right back the next offseason. Remember that? So there's one for you.
Okay.
Best I got.
Listen, I agree with you. I don't think it's.
I think the coach would have to get
It's a
fired.
good chance.
Like it'd have to be not Berube for Lawton to come back. I don't think he's having a whole lot of fun playing for Craig.
Doesn't seem like it.
No, coach doesn't use him.
What do you like on Matthews' role as captain when the team is bad, Sammy?
Well, they're just, kind of asked him about basically everybody's like, what are we doing here? How do we handle this? But it was a question just of basically that. So play the clip there, Derek. Clip. I don't know when to throw it.
Yeah, grind through it. Like, he's got to, go out and lead by example on the ice and the work ethic. And obviously we're counting on him to score goals, amongst other things. That's what leaders do. And just keep everybody in check in the room and make sure we're going out and competing every shift and playing for the team. That's the biggest thing that, as a captain, he needs to handle.
He has not scored a goal in 8 straight games.
That's the worst in his career.
Second longest. His
Second longest.
rookie year, he went 13 without a goal. His numbers against the Devils, 21 goals in 22 career games against them. So
that's
good team to get off
1.00.
Yeah, good team to get off the shenanigans.
It's going to be real interesting to see where his emotional state is, and not that he was ever an emotional guy, but you got to wonder now. He's coming off this incredible experience. He's looking around the room and seeing really good guys that could help him soon.
At least he knows he's done April 17th. He's a nice long summer ahead. You might as well keep the pedal down, get yourself to April. This will be the first time that they've had a.
He needs to shoot it in the net a little bit here, just
Totally.
he can't limp in. Is my point. Going into the summer,
No. Could.
Might.
Yeah, very well might. I mean, it's going to be fascinating because I think the next questions with the Leafs rebuild or retool next year is what can it look like if all these things fall into place, Tanev's back and healthy, and I've gone through the list of things before, and I've got an article up on it right now. What could it look like if it doesn't work?
Yeah.
You're in tough conversation time. Then it's like, is Matthews going to be a part of the solution?
The only thing really now stopping anybody from saying this is blowing up is Austin and Willie.
Well,
just 2 guys.
But if you think,
you get rid of one, then it's like
totally. But if you do this, if you were to rebuild and really let yourself engage in that world, you have to bottom out to get a bottom pick, and you're not sure how bottom it'll be exactly.
That's next year.
And then you have to draft a guy.
But they don't have next year's pick.
Right?
They don't have next
2
year's
years.
pick.
No.
So
They don't have this year. They don't have next
right.
year.
So then you have to draft a guy 2 years from now.
Yes.
And hope that guy, who's probably 2 or 3 years away,
Yes.
becomes something, and then do it again. Because you only have one guy.
Yeah.
You're talking about a massive cycle, which is why you have to see if you can do it with these guys because you have them. So I know it's only 2 guys, but you have to see. Otherwise, you're saying, let's try again 5 years of darkness.
I would argue that it's not as much Matthews. If they traded Nylander, I don't think it's blowing it up. If they traded
if you get back Adam Fox,
I think
sure.
I think Matthews is much more of a sort of franchise piece or like franchise looked upon the rest of the league. Like he's the second highest paid guy in the league. I think there's a world where you could
get a Kyrou, right? Move Willie out, find a way to get a Kyrou or that type of player in. Is that what you're talking about?
No, just get. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, you get worse Willie.
Yeah, I was gonna say worse Canadian Willie is what I was gonna say.
But at that point, maybe you're
just give me somebody then.
Well, no, I'm just like trading him for defenseman X. I don't even love Adam Fox, but trading him for a defenseman and another player or whatever, and keeping Matthews and signing Matthews if he wants to stay here, whatever. I just think if you trade Matthews, it's officially done. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about it. But
you're probably not winning a cup with a Willie-led group, but
agreed.
Peak Matthews
and maybe
possible,
and maybe not Matthews either.
Nah, I don't agree with that, but yeah.
Tanev got surgery.
Yeah, we mentioned that yesterday on the show, didn't we?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Good idea. Getting
I
right?
find it very frustrating personally. Like I respect his autonomy to make his own decision, but it should have happened to me. Like he should have had surgery. This team.
This is the groin.
Yeah.
Right?
And I know the idea was like, if the Leafs turn it around and you can get this guy back by the end of the year, you're building towards whatever.
Yeah.
But
my understanding, this was the Matthew Tkachuk surgery.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's shutting him down like even well before. It's a long time.
Yeah. So,
right?
You hate that it's happening in March and the season. You want him to be able to train in the summer. And now, presumably, he's not going to be able to do that until.
No, he should be ready to go. I don't think it'll hurt him and put him behind the 8 ball for training camp.
Okay.
Is my understanding. He should be.
I don't worry about his commitment to fitness. That's for sure. He's a guy who takes care of himself.
Do you both guys have confidence that you can go into next year and be like, we're going to get some part of Chris Tanev here for a season? Like, is that something you... maybe the word I'll use. Can you bank on it, boys?
I mean, it's tough to imagine him getting, playing 82 next year. It's tough to imagine him playing 72.
Yeah.
Just he has a history of some injuries. He's older, whatever. But, I don't know. Maybe he's healthy and you get 65 good games and he's your best D-man.
Speaking of wrong guy, right guy, wrong time.
Yeah.
Getting one good year to that contract.
I think it's a crapshoot in terms of like how he looks when he comes back fully healthy. And
he's going to be second pair right shot D.
A ton of wear and tear, and it just catches up to all of us here. So he'll be 36 or 37.
Yeah.
Sammy, do you got
I think he's 37.
A specific age that he'll come in next year at?
There's
a lot of hockey, a lot of hits.
Like, it's a foregone conclusion, is it not, that Morgan Riley will be gone for next season?
I don't see a world that he comes back.
Me either. So you're looking at a decor that's like
he will turn 37 next December.
Okay.
This December.
So you're looking at a decor that's like McCabe, Tanev, who plays with Carlo at that point? You got anyone?
Somebody.
Benoit, maybe here.
I don't know. You need a.
I don't know if Ben. Like if
I'm missing a name.
You get a pick for Benoit too, please.
Yeah. I'm on
please.
board with that.
Like anything.
Totally on board with that. So you're without OEL. You're without Morgan. Yeah, you're You're Carlo, McCabe, and Tanev.
I really think you just
need 3 more top guys.
Morgan just needs a change, and the Leafs need a change, and the fans need a change. And I know I threw this out there, but would you guys? Darnell Nurse is really struggling here. He makes 9.25, if I'm not mistaken. Morgan's at 7.5. Mm-hmm. If Edmonton was to eat it and make it 7.5, let's flip them.
Yep.
Would you guys be up for that? For no other reason, just to give both of them a change and give your market a change.
Yes. At least once in a while, Darnell fights.
What's that face you're giving me, Sammy?
I mean, I watched.
What did you just?
I watched Oilers too, boys.
Eat an onion?
I don't know.
No, he struggles.
Yeah.
He does struggle.
He's not available because he's a hot commodity right now.
I understand the premise, but I think I'd rather just trade Riley somewhere, eat whatever you need to eat, and then get somebody else.
The one thing that's fascinating about next year is right now, I don't know if you guys look at cap wages or whatever page you use, Puckpedia. These guys are they're $10 million below the salary cap right now. And next year, only Stolarz gets a raise, 1.25. Tanev has 3.8. That'll come back on the books. And the cap's going up $9 million. They're going to be like $20 million under the cap before they move Riley.
We've already proved that, like, it's not about the cap anymore.
No,
it's
I know.
just about limited quality players available.
This is why I wrote my article today.
Okay.
Which basically made the case that, like, Lawton, McMahon, I don't know if you're going to find better this summer. At least you get an asset for them, and hopefully you can find equal to them out there somehow. But, boy, you're going to see the Leafs sign some kind of bad deals, and it's not going to be a big deal, which usually ends up biting you, but at least they have flexibility they haven't had in the past. Now, is Tree going to do good with
was a big deal.
Huh?
Signing Michelli and not having him live up to it.
Well, trading
for him.
Yeah, he's an RFA.
Bringing him in.
No.
Right?
The deals he made this summer stunk. Yep.
And they can't make those same mistakes again.
No, they can't. And that's a lot of fans are listening to our show going, they want someone else to make those decisions.
But one of them might be sitting to your direct left.
Also, not to use this as as an excuse. But when you're in that office and you feel like the walls are closing in and people are screaming, who's going to replace Marner? And you're like, okay, here's our 4 choices. Pick one. Like you hate them all, but you got to pick one because bringing in no one
is way better. Way better.
But not to them and not to the fan base.
You have to wait.
It's you
until
not
you
doing
can do
your
it.
job.
Yeah.
That's what that is. So, okay, Brad Treliving hasn't made a trade since when? July?
Yes.
Dakota Joshua.
230 some days ago.
Okay.
Joshua.
Now, people are looking at that going, what kind of general manager are you? Like the team was underwater and you can't find anything. And it's like, well, would you rather me make a mistake or do not make a mistake? Which one's better?
Listen.
Third option, don't make a mistake.
Third option,
make a move that's
do a
good.
good job.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's lots of GMs that do a good job.
I think
And there's a lot
That do a bad job.
that are nervous and
I get it.
scared
That's
to make a mistake.
take a chance. But not taking a chance has you here. Not taking a chance. You know, I was looking at the Leafs management group that is with Tree. I think there's 7 names that are assistant GMs or special advisor to the GMs. 5 of them have only worked for the Leafs. No other teams around the NHL. Doan has worked for Arizona. I think Clancy had worked for one other place. But all of them are just like from Toronto. I just don't feel like there is a wealth of experience around the NHL or contacts or whatever to find out what's happening with the other 31 teams, find out when guys are unhappy and want to move. But they're not finding anything. There's no rocks being turned over that are turning up anything so far. And at some point, this was me talking about Marner and Matthews in game 6s and 7. The absence of things becomes a thing. And that's what we're seeing here. A lack of performance is the story. Something had to have happened by now. We'll give them time to turn it around and prove me wrong and prove a lot of people wrong, but not a whole lot of history to give me confidence.
It's the same cast of characters.
They need to really nail this with these 3 guys.
They need to bring somebody in. And I'm not saying it means firing Brad Treliving, but they got to bring somebody else in and help the man if you're going to keep him. And he's got to be rock solid.
Like Buffalo did with Yarmo. And now Yarmo's in charge.
Yarmo struggled in Columbus. Yeah. And I appreciate the Buffalo Sabres have turned it around.
Mm-hmm. That was all.
Not sure where Yarmo's fingerprints are all over that right now.
Kevin's like, hey guys,
right?
Look at what I did.
But
look at them.
But it didn't hurt, Sammy, to your point. It certainly didn't help. It only strengthened them.
Yeah.
Report right now, Parayko to Buffalo is going to happen from our pal Dregs, it looks like. Yeah. Things are being finalized.
Whoa.
So, it certainly sounded like the Robert Thomas thing fell off.
Yeah, Parayko
and
that's not what Buffalo.
Most likely is Thomas didn't want to go there. Would be my best guess.
Control, you think?
Robert Thomas?
He has
complete, no move.
Oh, well, hey.
And Jordan Kyrou as well. But he's open to go anywhere that he could try to win a Stanley Cup.
Kyrou is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Thomas is thinking about his life. He's like, I don't know who's going to be good 6 years from now, but I got a long contract. I want to be somewhere I want to live.
You can also just take it to the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I actually, for a guy like Thomas, who is the age he is and has a contract I think it's fair to say, not sure if you're a contender or not, don't really care. I want to be somewhere I want to be. That's interesting. Okay. That's
Parayko.
So Parayko's...
He'll help him.
What's Parayko at? 6.5?
For a
7?
long time.
I don't think there's that long left.
It's like 4 more years, maybe.
He's got some term for sure.
Okay. We will have that answer within.
But there was
Parayko is
6.5, I think.
Yeah.
29, 30, 6.5.
So 4 seasons after this.
Which is a lot, but they were going to have to do something on that blue line because they got Bo Byram coming up, who's going to cost probably $10 million, and they were already heavy, right, with Darlene and Power.
Would you think Byram is going to St. Louis then?
No, I would guess Power is going.
then I would imagine that.
So it
St.
might be
Louis
a
would have
bigger.
to do
It might be a
more.
bigger deal.
All right, we should go. We'll go. Maybe we can talk about this with Pags when we come back.
All right. When we return, David
Pagnotta.
Pagnotta,
We can ask him.
Yeah.
fourth period. We'll get his thoughts on a potential trade with the Buffalo Sabres and the St. Louis Blues. Back after these words. Welcome back to the program. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. All right, let's welcome in David Pagnotta. He is the editor-in-chief of the Fourth Period. David, how are you, man? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, busy little time here.
All right. It seems to be warming up, doesn't it? With a lot of rumblings around Parayko now. We certainly knew probably for a good month and a half, 2 months now about St. Louis and the possibilities of them cleaning up, at least with their current roster. What's the latest you have for us?
Yeah, this trade is going through. They're going through just the formalities. He's got a full no trade clause, so he's going to have to sign off on that deal. I believe Murtka's going back. He was drafted 8th or 9th overall by the Sabres last summer. He's going back to St. Louis in this deal. It's a bigger package. I'm not sure the other pieces yet, but he seems to be the centerpiece going back to the Blues in this one. And, as the Robert Thomas conversation also took place with Buffalo, it kind of expanded with Parayko being another potential target, ultimately being the guy that they bring in. There was some chatter about Justin Falk as well, but they're very high on Parayko. He's got another 4 years left on his contract. And now, given how the Sabres have performed this season, they're taking swings, and they took a pretty big one here by bringing in Parayko.
That is a massive one. Sounds like potentially a first with Murtka. It's funny, you never hear, you don't think much about these guys' names. He's 6'6", 220 with a point per game D-man in the dub. Pretty good. So that's a nice get for St. Louis.
Can I just touch on this? Just, David, in terms of the blue line now, we do know that Dahlin's at $11 million. Power has that long-term deal at 8.3. Samuelson's not exactly cheap at 4.285, and Bo Byram's up for a new contract that could be about $10 million. Where's everybody fitting in? Is there a chance one of those bigger salaries is going back to St. Louis?
I'd be a little bit surprised that I haven't heard that it'd be one of those pieces. I do know that with respect to Thomas, the Blues were talking about Owen Power in that deal, and that seemed to be met with a lot of hesitation. But this could be something that we see Bo and Byram maybe more likely in the offseason for them to explore and perhaps add some help up front, because we know that as much as they wanted to address the blue line, which seems to be what they've achieved here with Parayko, and bringing in a guy with stability, a rock steady guy on that back end, they also are looking for additional scoring. And with Alex Tuch and his uncertainty moving forward, they haven't made any headway on a contract. They're not expected to get something done by Friday's deadline. At the same time, they don't really plan on moving him. They're going to hold on to him and then take their chances in the summer. But in addition to that, as they try to make that work when the time comes, I could certainly see them being in a position to perhaps move Byram in order to bring in some additional offense up front, or at least some extra firepower to add to their top six. They want to load up right now. Adding Parayko certainly does that. They're looking at depth as well, not just at the top of the pile at a 1-2 spot at the center position. They're also looking for depth in their bottom six, and we know what's happening with some of the Leaf guys. I think they were connected to Scott Laughton at one point as well. That's the kind of caliber they're looking for in their bottom six also. So we'll see if that develops.
I mean, I got to tell you, Matthias Samuelsson, Rasmus Dahlin, Bowen Byram, Owen Power, Colton Parayko, and Michael Kesselring. That might be the best decor in the league by a good distance. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah,
so,
it's strong. And then add that to the sound goaltending that they've been getting lately. I think they want to roll with that the rest of this season, see what works in the playoffs, and then go from there.
Yeah, that's what a glow up by the Sabres this year. So the Leafs sit out 3 guys tonight. We are in our Leafs hour here. We weren't sure that they were going to do much at all, and all of a sudden it seems like they're going to do stuff. Have you heard any of these names tied to any particular team out there, or do you think the Leafs are still just knocking on doors?
Well, yeah. So the conversation certainly today, the conversations, plural, have definitely picked up and warranted to the point where I don't believe something is imminent at this hour, but things have certainly progressed to the point where they don't want to take their chances. It's developed to this level. Let's sit these guys out because it's effectively, I guess, imminent in terms of the deadline, but nothing at this hour. They're going to continue those conversations. There's multiple options available for all 3 of these guys. The interesting thing about the Leafs, they have all their retention slots, the salary retention slots still available. There is a chance that they could use them for any of these guys, perhaps another player as well. to try to help facilitate that deal by making it a little more palatable cap-wise for a team, but also maximize a return. And I think it would make a little bit more sense doing it on expiring deals, but we'll see what comes to fruition there. Edmonton, Buffalo, as I mentioned, Tampa as well. Heard them kicking the tires on a Scott Laughton. So we'll see kind of where that goes. We know there's interest in some of the Leafs' other players as well, Nick Waugh, Simone Benoit, and so on. I don't think the Leafs will be done here just beyond these three.
What are you hearing about the goaltending market? I know in a perfect world, they would have loved Joseph Woll and Stolarz to carry the mail all season long. It never happened. It would be crazy to bring them back next year and just think like, no problem, no history that we can think about. And it's not going to happen here. But is there a chance that they make a decision on pushing one out now, or is that something that they need to decide in the offseason?
Kyper, I think they're open to that possibility. I just don't know if it's realistic now, just gauging how the market is with respect to goaltending. I think some teams are looking at bringing in that extra security blanket going into the playoffs, have that that third string goalie if they absolutely need to, if somebody gets, dinged up come playoff time. But outside of, making a bigger splash, of course, people are hearing, Bobrovsky's name out there and Binnington to a certain extent. Even that on Benner's side, I keep hearing that. It might be more geared towards an offseason type of move. But there are some teams, if I'm the Leafs and a team is calling me about a Joe Woll or an Anthony Stolarz, I think they're willing to have those conversations. I just don't know how progressive that has gone to this point. Maybe it changes in the next couple of days. But we'll see kind of where that goes. The one team I am curious about, be it now or in the summer, is Philadelphia. They got a ton of question marks in net with their goaltending longevity overall. They've tried a number of different options, hasn't really been a big fit. It wouldn't shock me if that conversation takes place at some point.
I follow along with the Islanders pretty closely. They've taken a step this year and seem like one of these teams that wants to do something to get a little better. I actually feel like they used to be a team that was on no trade list, that now probably players are more interested in going to play there. Would some of these St. Louis guys, a Kyrou, Thomas, any of those be potential fits, or what are you hearing tied to the Islanders?
Oh, they've checked in on both of those guys, and they've had conversations with the Blues about Thomas and Kyrou. I think they tried to have a conversation about both. Yeah. I think that's out of the mix. It's going to be really hefty. But I certainly believe that they've checked in on both of those guys. And the one thing with Thomas, going back to those Buffalo discussions, the price tag is so high that you're talking about multiple first-round equivalent assets.
Yeah.
Utah's been in that. I was told that Desnoyers, who was drafted 4th overall last year, was a primary piece that they'd want from Utah if they pull that off, but it's going to need to include, perhaps another 2 assets that fit a similar first-round type of feel, to it. The Islanders have a very deep prospect pool now. They had a heck of a draft last year, even outside of the first round, and of course highlighted by Schaefer. But they have a number of different prospects that are high up on a lot of boards for a lot of teams, along with a willingness to move some additional pieces. Keep in mind, they have an extra first-round pick that they got from Colorado at the deadline last year that I believe they're willing to dangle as part of it. Whether that leads to a Thomas or a Kyrou, we're going to have to wait and see. But I know those conversations at some point have happened. They kicked the tires a little bit on Connor Garland, although I don't think that's a fit. But it certainly looks like fishing for not just somebody to add to their top 6, but also somebody that has term and is controllable. And if they're going to give up some good young pieces, they want to make sure that whoever they bring in is going to be part of their roster for the foreseeable future.
Dave, great stuff, man. Really appreciate you stopping by on a really, really busy day, busy week still ahead of us. Thanks for doing this.
Yep. Thanks for having me, guys. Enjoy the next couple days.
You too. Thanks for your time.
That is David Pagnotta, editor-in-chief of the Fourth Period.
Hey, boys.
What do you got?
I was producing.
So
producing that.
Everybody's locked into like second rounders and third rounders or a first rounder, but keep an eye on Brad Treliving finding his own Minton, right?
Okay.
That's what I'm told now. They got to go out there and create a Fraser Minton situation on one of these guys. Yeah. Let's face it. it ended up being a very embarrassing trade for the Toronto Maple Leafs, especially when Boston's going to end up with your first rounder.
You know what gets
and you need a fresh name to come in.
Like a body that's young.
A body that's young that you can turn into a potential player in the next year or two.
People forget this because there was also, you had to pay for retention. They also paid a 4th rounder in that trade, by the way. The Leafs did.
Okay, just they don't have to rub it in.
I'm just saying,
more.
there's more pieces than we remember.
So this is interesting.
Okay.
Is
your mic on there, pal?
I don't know. Is it? Maybe I was too far.
Good, yeah.
I was too far. So Saravelli says that, that the Blues and Sabres have a framework of a trade in place. However, at this exact moment, Parayko has not made a decision yet on whether he will waive his full known trade clause. He's been presented with the option. Odds are he says yes, not there yet. So
if I'm a Sabres fan, I don't love that.
It's amazing how Buffalo, I don't know, 3 months ago.
Oh,
was like,
no one's going there.
No one's touching it with a 10-foot pole.
No.
I will say, though, I love them getting Parayko. I mean,
it changes their decor 1,000%. Now you got the big,
I didn't mind
defensive
their
guy.
decor now.
I liked it a lot, but this,
it's next level stuff. But I just don't know where all these bodies are heading.
If you got like Samuelson and Kesselring can kind of do some of the more defensive stuff, and you got Power and Dahlin shooting the puck in the net, you're right. Byram becomes maybe expendable or Power, but by expendable I mean extremely valuable pieces.
Sammy,
but this year you keep them all, and
Byram would look good in a Leaf uniform, eh?
Believe me,
take over
the first thing in the
Morgan
Leafs hour,
Riley.
I was like, Owen Power to the Leafs. How do you do that? How does that work?
Or Bo Byram.
Sure.
But how do you get? How does that happen?
I don't know.
How does that happen?
We're not paid to make it happen.
Others are. They have a 2037 second. They could maybe trade.
I need to think about it, but you got a 28 first. Just want to never have a first.
Never have a first.
But I mean, at least that's a guy who's young and is going to be around. I just said you got $1 zillion in cap space. So you're not too worried about keeping him. Is Byram Canadian?
He is.
He is?
Yeah. I think he was a World Junior guy, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah.
Yeah, he is a Cranbrook, BC boy. Love that.
Having a great year. Having a really good year.
Really good player.
Really good player. Flies.
Sabres are interesting, man. This is happening here.
I hope that happens.
Who goes first?
Of Byram or Power?
No. Leafs.
Oh, man. I think Lawton has not scratched the itch for Craig Berube. I think he's the guy. OEL, I think they think you could flip OEL next year still. He's still got 2 years of whatever. And McMahon, I think they like because he's younger.
There's still heavy prices out there. Boy. So Myers goes for a second and a fourth. A guy like Ritzelainen in Philly. Mm-hmm. Daniel Briere wants the Carlo trade. He wants a first rounder and a blue chip prospect. I don't know if he's going to get it.
We got to go, but how's this for a tease? Freege tweet about Mackenzie Weegar potentially being on the move.
Yep,
what?
He's on my trade board.
Oh, National Hour coming next.
All right.
Woo.
We're just warming up on trade week on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Throwing out some big names. You're not going to want to miss it. All right, coast to coast. It's the National Hour on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We are in the heart of trade week right now. NHL deadline.
This is the good stuff.
Friday, 3 p.m. Teams are working hard. We're live on Sportsnet, 650 in Vancouver, 960 in Calgary, streaming always on Sportsnet Plus. Also available Spotify and Apple Podcasts and YouTube, where we always appreciate a thumbs up. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. All right, boys. We had the Leaf Hour edition. We wrapped that up, but the news continues to trickle in. Let's just recap so far what we know. Colton Parayko is close to becoming a Buffalo Sabre. We believe that the deal has not been stamped just yet.
Yep.
Perhaps the last guy that needs to do that is Colton himself, who has a no-move clause.
And nothing makes it more likely to get a yes on that than winning games and showing you're a real team. For years, if this had been Parayko and the Sabres, going back a decade and a half, he'd have said, pass.
And having it trickle out in the news doesn't help.
No, but as of today...
Or does help, sorry.
I think as of today, they might get a yes here. That decor is going to be as good as any the league has seen, I think, for years. Rasmus Dahlin, Samuelson,
they've really
Power, Byram,
really
Kesselring
have come in on their own right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's unfortunate for Kevin Adams that it just didn't happen fast enough for him.
God.
Like he just missed the window.
Honestly, if they had won like 2 more games in the first half of the year.
It's crazy. He must be so sour sitting on the sidelines watching this.
So sour.
He's got to be enjoying it though, right?
I do wonder though, this is the sort of thing that puts it over the top. Like, is this why you went to Kekalainen? Because he's pulled the trigger and hopefully going to bring them in a big thing that turns the corner. Who knows if this is able to happen if it's not him. So
also
alternate reality stuff.
Also, right before we went to break, I teased the potential trade as well from Friedge.
Great jersey choice behind me for a
Thank
reason.
You. That Mackenzie Weegar potentially on the move to the Utah Mammoth.
Again, for Utah, these teams are trying to turn a corner and go from rebuilding to contending, and these are the steps you take.
Yeah, and, giving up a first rounder or a top 10 pick in the last year or two doesn't seem to be much of a problem for these new teams now coming up through the system.
Well, they've been loading up with assets to do this. This is the point of being bad, is that when you turn the page, you really turn it.
And typically what we've seen in the past is first rounders going to teams that will be drafting from 26, 27 up. But the likes of Colorado and Dallas and Edmonton, they're out of bullets already.
Yeah, they're out of bullets because they've been good for a while. But these teams that are up and coming, Utah, they've got just a whack of picks only in the next 3 years.
The one thing about the likes of a Parayko and a Mackenzie Weegar is that they're not $9 million players. They're both, I think, in the ballpark of 6.25, 6.5, which is a really reasonable.
As the cap
price
goes up, if you get a few good years out of these guys and they're proven pros, they're probably going to be okay as they get older. These are good guys to get.
And legitimate 21, 22, 23-minute a night guys.
For now. Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, for the next couple of years. And this is...
At least, 2, 3.
Right. Yeah.
They could minute munch, I think, for 3 or 4 years.
And you look at Utah, who's sniffing around the playoffs and dying to get in it and give their fans there a little something. This is the type of thing that can change things around.
I'm watching the Ottawa Senators last night blow a 2-goal lead, not once but twice, against the Edmonton Oilers, and go get Mackenzie Weegar. Go.
The Sens.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's from Ottawa.
Jeez. Yeah, that would have been a really good fit. The Oilers, that type of game last night is how they continue to do what they do. They're dead to rights, down a couple goals to a very good team, find a way to get into overtime, get the win. They'll sneak into playoffs based on games like that, and God knows from there.
I don't think you can play like that, sneak in, and expect much more than a round.
You seen that West, man?
They are
Conference final.
Edmonton.
Conference final.
Edmonton defensively is a dog's breakfast, guys.
Yeah, and they'll handle Seattle and whoever else, Utah, and then they'll get beat up by a good team.
I think it's coming back to them now. There's just too many questionable signings in Edmonton.
Yeah,
and it's catching up to them.
It is funny. I just gave you that decor, how good it is in Buffalo,
Yeah.
how loaded it is. And then you turn the page to Edmonton, and it's Nurse and Emberson and Stastny, Wallman's, whatever. I know Bouchard is awesome. Ekholm, it's just not.
Connor Murphy coming in will make a huge difference.
Connor Murphy will help.
Jake Wallman, they just signed him to $49 million.
God, that's so many million.
He's in the last year of his old deal at 3-4. $7 million hasn't kicked in yet, right? And it's 7 times 7. Do you know how many minutes he played last night?
I'm not gonna
take a guess.
I don't know, 17.
11. 11.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to just be a little fair to the guy, he's battled some injuries. I don't know how healthy he is. I guess you got to be considered, where he is physically. But
you said the deal doesn't kick in. He's 30.
You can't.
He's 30 today.
Can't play him more than 11 minutes last night.
And you're going to get age 31 to 37 or whatever those years.
Mangiapane, they got to unload that. That's in the works now. But Frederick's killing you guys. Killing you at almost $4 million a year for 4 points this year.
Scored the other night. He's red hot.
Yeah,
I mean, for
3
him,
before that.
He got 25% of his points.
It's just they're scrambling right now to add another defenseman.
So here's where we're at. Just gonna track down Andy Strickland out of St. Louis.
Oh, great.
I actually had to produce. I had to leave the room.
A great job there.
Anyways, because we're supposed to have Rick Bonus on.
Thanks to Rick.
And I texted him. I said, he's like, what's the big news? With a smiley face. So he was
it's
interested
relevant to his division, I would say. Yeah.
So that happened. And then we're going to have Emily Kaplan at the bottom of the hour to talk about more of this stuff. But yeah, so we're just waiting to track down Andy to talk about St. Louis. Maybe he'll have some information for us, but there's still nothing that's come out since that happened.
Okay.
Rick's more than welcome to come back on if he breaks a big trade, I guess. Columbus.
Tell us what's going on. What are the Blue Jackets going to do? Nick Foligno back to the Blue Jackets? A possibility?
I feel like if we had Waddell on, he would break it.
Because
every time he comes on our show, he's like, "Yeah, we're going to sign Olivier and we're going to sign everybody." Basically, remember that?
We should legitimately get him back on. He would break news.
Yeah.
The Uyghur thing interesting. It sounds like who would it be? Maverick Lamoureux or something going the other way. So the very clear that the Flames are building. They want their time to be in their new building, which I love. Yeah, sorry, I'm looking. So T.J. Ginla is a Utah prospect, right?
Yeah. He was...
no way.
I just think Ginla and the Flames would be so amazing.
He's like one of the most prized prospects in the league. You're not going to trade him for...
You would for Robert Thomas.
For sure.
Yeah.
But not from Uyghur.
I don't think I don't think so.
But the Calgary connection is undeniable.
Could it be Uyghur plus?
They got 2 or 3 of those type of guys.
Yeah.
For Uyghur, it would be a first round pick and maybe a prospect. And I don't know if you got to give him a top 10 of your previous drafts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what Books came on our show and was like, they have too many players to sign.
Yeah, for their contracts.
He's like, they can't sign enough guys. But they're not gonna. I mean, if you're going Robert Thomas, you talk about Tej, but you're not gonna do that for Uyghur.
Yeah.
Although, how sick would it be to have Tej in?
If you're
Calgary?
the Flames, you're like, look, we'll do Uyghur and a first. Send us Tej. Let's go.
Tej.
Just give us Tej. We want the Iginla.
Well, could you go Uyghur and Kadri?
Oh, for Utah? Okay.
And spice it up a little bit?
Let's let it be a bigger deal. We have someone to talk about this stuff with.
We got Andrew?
Yeah, we do.
Andy Strickland, what's going on, my friend?
Fellas, how are you?
We're
it's
good.
A rainy day and a cloudy day here in Seattle, but it's great to be with you as always.
All right. So how busy is Doug Armstrong right now with the Buffalo Sabres? You tell us.
Pretty busy. I mean, I had heard yesterday that the conversations had shifted away from all the talk about Robert Thomas, and they were focused on a right shot D. You got Justin Falk here and obviously Colton Parayko, both with term left on their deal. Sorry, I'm reading text messages as they come in. Both with term left on their deal following this year. Parayko with 4 years left, I believe. I think you have Justin Falk with just one. So the compensation coming back obviously would be a little bit different, but Parayko would certainly. Okay,
good.
so I'm getting a text right now saying that this reporting about Parayko to Buffalo is premature.
Ooh.
This is from sources close to Colton Parayko. I'm not suggesting that it's not happening, but he does have a no trade clause. I would imagine that is a big part of it. He would have to waive his no trade clause to go to Buffalo. But again, a right shot D, you look at the other big twin towers they have in Buffalo, there'd be a lot of size on the back end, but there's talk about Murka, obviously, Radom Murka coming the other way. You see the reports about the first round picks and whatnot. So Murka, big 6'6" defenseman, probably plays with a little more physicality than Parayko. So, you got Alexander Steen coming in next year. People have to remember that also as the general manager, even though Doug Armstrong is going to be here. So this is truly a little bit of a transition period for the Blues. Nobody expected the season to go the way that it has. And so I think that they are looking to shake it up. Now it's in the players' court. We'll see how this plays out.
Andy, I mean, you're around that team constantly. You probably know Parayko better than most. You see an issue where he wouldn't go to Buffalo? Is he a Buffalo? Does he like chicken wings?
Is he a Bills fan? Is he a Josh Allen fan?
What do you got?
I would, to be honest with you, a little bit surprised if he were to go to Buffalo. Now, I'm from Buffalo originally, so I love Buffalo. Buffalo's a soft spot in my heart. It's a great town. I don't live in Buffalo, right? I mean, I like Buffalo an awful lot. I'll tell you this. And talking to some of the players this morning, listen, I think people recognize where Buffalo is at. And I'm a big Jarmo Kekalainen fan. I've known Jarmo for years since he was running the amateur scouting here in St. Louis. And, I think the perception is starting to change, and that's a real positive. And I think it was different years back, obviously, when they were a playoff team. But I think players realize they've got a lot of good players on that roster. And if they were to get a player like a Parayko or a Robert Thomas, who was rumored before, I'm just saying players who are in that category, that would be a real win for Buffalo. It would show a real changing of the guard in terms of what the perception is of Buffalo throughout the National Hockey League amongst its players. But I just got a text, again, like I said, that this reporting is a little bit premature. I'm not second-guessing the reporting, but again, when a player has a full no-trade clause, they have the right to exercise that, and I would imagine it's in Parayko's court right now to make that decision. Does he want to go to Buffalo?
Andy, despite all the rumblings and talk about Thomas and the Buffalo Sabres, the exact same scenario. No move clause for Thomas. And if it shifted from Thomas to Parayko, is there a chance it shifted because Thomas said no?
I can tell you Thomas was never presented with anything to even consider. Again, lots of talk out there and a lot of rumors, and I think these are substantiated. I think they're real discussions that are going on behind the scenes. But there was never a trade that was brought to Robert Thomas as of this morning for him to reject or to accept. So, again, I'd be a little bit surprised if he were to accept a trade to Buffalo. Not completely shocked, because we're talking about a little bit of a different Buffalo situation than what we've seen in recent years. They're a competitive team. They're in the playoffs. So it's a different situation, but it probably wouldn't be on his, high on his list of teams that he would want to go to. And I would imagine that's the same thing for Colton Parayko. Parayko's from Edmonton. You're taking him further away from where he's from. Not that it necessarily matters. I mean, he still has a contract. He's getting paid to play in the NHL. But I'll be interested to see how this plays out. And if these guys say they're willing to go to Buffalo, that would be a little bit of a surprise for me.
So what have you made of the Blues' decision to blow it up like this? Like Thomas and Kyrou as eligible names was really surprising, I think, to a lot of us not in St. Louis. You're Bennington, Parayko, Falk. Like, these are big pieces, but I guess if you're going to go back and take another swing like 2019, this has to happen?
Well, I think they have to decide what's the quickest way to get back to being at a championship level.
Yeah.
And getting to that level. I mean, they had expectations to be a playoff team this year. I mean, obviously after the season they had last year, coming out of the Four Nations where they were one of the top teams in the league. Robert Thomas led the NHL in scoring coming out of the Four Nations last year. The final 25 games of the season, he was unbelievable. So I don't know if they're really looking to blow it up as much as just kind of change the core as it sits right now. After this season, I think maybe the question becomes, is this core group good enough to get us back to being at a championship caliber level? That's the question. So I don't think you move everybody, but you start maybe with one guy, maybe then the next guy. But listen, the idea that they're going to move 4 or 5 guys or 6 guys here at the trade deadline, I never ever thought that was going to happen, and obviously I still don't. I mean, you've seen guys get moved. Nick Bukestad got moved a few weeks ago. They had to move on from Robbie Fabry. They moved on from Matthew Joseph, and I know some teams are kicking around maybe looking at acquiring Matthew Joseph. We'll see how that plays out. He's not an elite NHL player by any means, but he's probably better than being in the American League where he is right now. So, so I think those are some of the moves that we anticipated. You have other guys, obviously, that maybe would have some attraction to some teams, the Pew Suitors of the world, the Oscar Sundquists of the world. But, we're getting into some big-time names here, the Thomases, the Kyrous. It certainly has gotten everybody's attention. But Thomas, Kyrou, they've got full no-trade clauses as well. And I think they're just saying, hey, we had expectations. We haven't met those expectations. Where are we as an organization? Where do we want to be as an organization? What's the quickest way to get there? And that's why the price tag is so high. I mean, all these guys are available. If you're really willing to give Doug Armstrong what he wants, then he'll move these guys. But he knows he doesn't have to move them. But if you're willing to give him what he's asking for, and let's face it, there's only a handful of teams, maybe it's smaller than a handful, who truly have the assets to make some of these deals work.
Andy, no, he doesn't have to move them, but their names, and I'll throw in Braden Shen's name out there and Kyrou. It just seems like they've been out there forever. And now Thomas's name has been out there. No one's squashing it. There's really no going back and saying, oh, guys, listen, come to camp. We're going to build around you. It's just a matter of time, isn't it? Even if it is going into this summer.
Well, I always look at these deals as summer deals anyway. I feel like they're easier to get done in the summer. I feel like everybody keeps their players. Everybody has money in the NHL nowadays, outside of a handful of teams, maybe the Colorados and the Dallases and some of these other teams that are right up there and, ready to go for a Stanley Cup. But with the cap going up and how much it's expected to go up moving forward, I think everybody feels like they have money, so they keep their players. They pay their players. Listen, Robert Thomas and Kyrou, I mean, they're really good players. I'd like to see, you build around some of these guys and add more good players, to where maybe they're not the guys you thought they would be when you signed them, that, hey, they were going to be the guys to put the organization on their back and take them to another Stanley Cup. But I do think they're really good players that are difficult to replace, that are 26, 27 years of age. It's hard to replace these guys. But, Doug Armstrong is so good at negotiating these type of deals. Alexander Steen, very smart hockey guy, that I do have, and I think the fan base has faith that in the event they were to move some of these players, as shocking as it may sound, they feel like the pieces they'd be getting in return would be setting this organization up moving forward where they can win in the short term. So that's why I'm always curious. If you make these trades happen and you move on from some of these guys, what are you getting in return? And does it make the organization better moving forward? And I think that's where you have to wait and reserve judgment. To basically, they're not looking to unload these guys to give them away just to dump some salary here. They're throwing them out there and saying, hey, if you're willing to give us X, Y, and Z, can have Robert Thomas, but if you're not willing to give us what we're asking for, we'll keep him and we'll hang on to him for now.
So you mentioned only a handful of teams that can make these big deals. Who do you think are sitting there with the bag ready to spend?
Well, Utah is one of them for sure.
Yeah.
I was looking into it the other day. I think Utah has a prospect who leads the OHL in points per game, the Q in points per game, and the Dub in points per game.
They can't fit them all.
And they have like a Russian defenseman who's like a point per game right now in the American League.
Yeah.
Like they got all these guys. You know how hard it is to get a top 3 pick? I mean, you got to like really try to tank.
Hey, they've been bad a long time.
A long time. And so they got all these guys from being bad for so long. Now they're just going to give them all away to go get a player off your roster. I just don't see that happening. That they may be willing to move one of them, maybe 2 of them, but certainly not 3. And I always felt like with a guy like Thomas, probably throw Kyrou and maybe Parayko in that list as well, that it's going to take 3 pieces to get it done, not 2. But, Utah, prior to that, Arizona, they had to try to be that bad. That's how bad they were for so long. They got all these picks, and now their prospect pool is loaded, but I don't think they're looking just to get rid of them. I mean, they had to be bad for 6 years, and it's hard to get a top 12 pick. It's hard to get a top 3 pick. It's almost impossible. You got to be so bad to get a top 3 pick. The Blues haven't had one. I think they've had a top 10 pick in recent years. They got Dvorsky, and you got to go back to 2008. They had the 4th overall pick in Alex Pietrangelo. Outside of that, they always pick in the 20s, and they get great players like a Robert Thomas, for example, and Snuggerud. And you look at Jordan Kyper being a 2nd-round pick, Colton Parayko being a 3rd-round pick. They've done a great job drafting.
Andy, I got to ask you about Jordan Binnington because so much talk about his struggles going into the Olympics, and he quieted the crowd there. What do you got for us? You keep looking at me like I got 3 heads when you come close to the camera.
Because it was a tweet, but it was coming from I follow you, 590 The Fan, Sportsnet, whatever the Twitter is. It was you guys.
Was it?
It was you guys. Yeah.
Good.
I think you tagged me.
Yeah, he sent a tweet about what he said during his interview.
Nice job, Sammy. Binnington.
Sammy.
I didn't do it.
Binnington and the market. We know Joel Hofer's the goalie of the future here, so it's just a matter of time before Binnington's gone. Is there enough for him to move? I know he's got half the league he can shut down. I don't know what kind of market's out there. There's a lot of speculation right now that Bobrovsky might be warming up to the idea of maybe finding another team. I don't know what that does, but where do you see Binnington?
Frozen?
No. I didn't know if you were finished.
Where do you see Binnington's situation going?
Yeah. Great question. And he has like a 14-team modified no-trade list or whatever, but they're going to treat him like he's got a full no-trade. He's earned that. Not going to send him to somewhere where he wouldn't want to go. Same with the captain, Braden Shen. I think they would certainly work with him on that. Much like Minnesota or Vancouver did with Quinn Hughes, you want to put these guys in a spot that they want to go to. By the way, Bobrovsky, I hear he wants a Marchand-type deal in terms of the term. That's their biggest issue. He wants, 6 years or whatever.
Yeah, he's asking for a ton.
Yeah, but for Binnington, I think some of these, who needs goalies anyway, right? Edmonton, I from what I understand, it's on his no-trade list. I don't think he's interested in going there. You hear Ottawa, don't think he wants to go there.
Carolina?
I'll tell you where, maybe, do they really need a goal? I mean,
they got another year of an unproven one.
Yeah, I'm with you there. People throw out Montreal, that would be interesting. Vegas would really be interesting. You'd be getting Binnington for another year beyond this season, too. So I think most players, they don't turn down Vegas. So that would be something that would be really interesting in the event the Blues are really looking to move Binnington. I'll tell you the one team that I think, before his career is all said and done, that he would love to play for if it wasn't St. Louis, because I know he loves it here in St. Louis. Big part of the community, has had so much success here. He's an icon, and he always will be here in St. Louis, is Toronto.
I knew that was
but under these circumstances right now, it's just the timing isn't right for him to go to Toronto. I don't think he wants to play for this Toronto team. Everyone's been
He's
talking.
not afraid of the
Edmonton.
spotlight, is he?
No, but they're just not in position to win right now. So I don't know why
he's the only Canadian team that's not on his no trade list.
All right. I got to get one more question before we go. The other Leafs players, anything on Lawton, OEL, McMahon, expectations where they may go, or is that's not your beat?
No, it's not. But I mean, you look at Detroit. Detroit's still looking for a defenseman. They lost out obviously on
Myers.
Buffalo's still looking for a right shot D2. So, and we'll see how this plays out with Colton Parayko. But the Blues have another one here on this roster too. So it's kind of a crazy time, man. We've heard all these rumors for years about St. Louis, and then it just doesn't ever really the hype never really matches what actually happens. This year it just feels a little bit different. So
can I tell you why?
Yeah.
Because Doug Armstrong. Are you sure he's coming back next year?
Can we get him in a Binnington deal?
Come on, Strick. Give us something on Army next year.
He's got a contract.
Yeah.
To come back to St. Louis next year. So, listen, Doug Armstrong is still in the prime of his career, even though he's been doing this forever. And I think he's even admitted maybe having him not manage a team or not be a general manager, even though he's going to be the president of hockey, that's going to be a real significant adjustment for him. And if you're asking me if I think that will he ever become a GM again? Now, he's not going to go work for somebody else. Like in the past, Toronto was a rumor. Like he wasn't coming to Toronto to work.
No, he's going to leave to go become president of hockey operations somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, although he's got that here in St. Louis, he's going to be president of hockey.
Okay.
But I wouldn't close the door on any of that. And, and Toronto.
That's why we have you.
Toronto has always been that team. I think 98% of the teams around the league, it would be easier for him to say, no, I wouldn't do that. Maybe Toronto would be a little bit of a different scenario.
All right. Now you're giving us something, Andy.
Chum in the water.
Thanks for doing this, pal.
We just put a tweet out while you were talking.
Yeah, you should take a good close look at your phone. Sammy's just putting that out right now on your behalf.
Oh, please don't. You guys get me fired. You're going to hire me next week. I'll tell you that next week.
Note to 590 Twitter.
Andy Strickland on the latest on Colton Parayko. Still not a Buffalo Sabre just yet.
Thanks, pal.
Thanks, Andy.
Juicy.
It's
game time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds. Ontario only, must be 19 plus. Please play responsibly. 5 games on tap tonight, including on Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey, the Toronto Maple Leafs in New Jersey to take on the Devils. Austin Matthews has not scored in a long time. Always scores against the New Jersey Devils. 21 goals in 22 games against them. Give me a Austin Matthews anytime goal tonight at plus 140. That's my pick for tonight. A couple of other games in Anaheim hosting the Islanders. 2 good young teams, minus 110, both sides of the money line there. Matthew Schaefer's unbelievable. And Vegas in Detroit to try to beat a team that's in a playoff spot for the first time since November. That was game time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds. It must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Okay, let's catch our breath when we return. Emily Kaplan, ESPN hockey reporter, just as busy as everyone else, but she's got a few minutes to stop by.
Shout out McKee. What a show you scheduled today.
Oh, my
this
God.
Is good.
Plenty
Juicy.
more on trade deadline week here on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Don't go away. Welcome back to the program. A reminder of this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne. Loving our chat on the YouTube channel. How about a thumbs up for our Sammy? Jam-packed show today, Sammy. Way to go, bud.
Oh,
buddy, going Strickland, Kaplan back-to-back on a busy trade day is really elite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Emily Kaplan will join us soon. Certainly tremendous buzz going around the National Hockey League, and we've got a signing too as well. Kyper Sherwood signing a big, massive contract. I had written earlier that you just weren't sure. It took so long for them to realize what the number was, and I think they knew the number all along. Why they needed to wait so long?
Well, because it's a bad number.
It's not a great number. I'll give you that. But you traded for the guy.
Yeah, well, and
you knew the number, JB.
Well, and there's this thing with the salary cap doing what it's doing, where I think teams are going to go hate the number. However, we want the player, and we're going to have room, so we'll do it.
That's the key point.
5 years,
shock coming up.
Yeah.
$28.75 million.
Shout out to Kyper Sherwood. By the way, when everyone says congratulations to the player, you know the deal is good for him.
Let's welcome in Emily Kaplan from ESPN, who's is this the biggest window you've been off your phone? Emily is talking to us today.
You know what? I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to be off my phone when I talk to you guys.
Yeah, that's okay. You know what? We had Andy Strickland on. He was checking his phone while we were talking. It was so cool. So if you need to do anything at all, just carry on. But we're not taking our camera off of you.
Cool. The best is when it's like my friends text me. I'm like so excited. I've gotten to learn. I've got to go check in. They're like, what are you doing March 27th? Want to get dinner? I'm like, get off. So I'm the worst person to be around this week, but I'm glad that I'm not alone.
Just before joining us, your last conversation, your last text to anybody was on who?
Colton Parayko, trying to figure out what exactly is going on right now. So it seems like that's a deal in place, and it sounds like it's going to happen, but there's obviously a little bit of a hang up here. And I think that probably involves him, having to make that decision to waive his no movement clause. Cause this, like when you sign up for something and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, the contract we gave you, it's not going to exactly be honored that way. It's a big life decision.
Yeah.
Is this a surprise for you? Is this just the start of the St. Louis Blues? Because if we go back earlier in this season, the Blues were pretty much out of the gate as the first team to say, we've got guys for sale. Who wants them?
I don't know if this is necessarily the first move for them, only because I feel like this is what Doug Armstrong does. Like he's done this several other times, including last year, where he just puts all of his players' names out there and nothing is guaranteed to happen because he sets super high prices and just like, I'm open for business. And so maybe there's more that happens, but I also wouldn't be shocked if so many of these decisions are just punted to summer because a lot of these guys that we're talking about are under contract for several more years. What I do think it is the first domino for, though, is just the trade market, specifically with defensemen. Like everyone wants a right shot defenseman. Rasmus Ristolainen, like a lot of teams were in on him. I'm curious, does that become the next guy that goes here, or guys that lost out on Parayko, what they do? And then for me also, it's just the Buffalo Sabres. Like I just love the fact that Jarmo Kekalainen's like, enough is enough. We're in playoff position right now, about to break the NHL's longest playoff drought. Let's just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's dicey times to get in playoffs. They got to make sure they do it. I appreciate them going hard too. You're seeing a lot of these teams make a pivot from we're rebuilding, we're trying to get good to like, okay, here we go. And Utah is one of those teams. Mackenzie Weegar rumored to be going there. I'll be honest. The conversation that everyone is having around this trade is like, is there a way that TJ Ginla could go back to Calgary? Is there a way to make a package happen? If you're the Flames and you're aiming at being good in a couple of years, that's like the holy grail of a player to acquire.
Yeah, I love when they make emotional choices like that too, right? Because just think of how popular that would be in the market, and they've gone through so much, and now they have the new arena coming, but like that would just be a massive wave of good publicity. So I honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't put a ton of my focus into the Canadian teams. You guys got that covered. Utah's one of those teams they just haven't been able to infiltrate yet, so I have no idea what's going on there.
Appreciate the honesty.
Okay, so south of the border to outside of St. Louis, what is striking your fancy right now in the trade world?
Vincent Trocheck situation for sure. I just feel like Chris Drury kind of backed himself into a corner by putting out that letter saying you're going to retool. And maybe it was just preparing fans for Artemi Panarin, which obviously was a shocking one. You get rid of Carson Soucy, but it feels like there needs to be more. And Trocheck is the big chip out there, right? Like that's where they could get the most value at this deadline. I don't think anything's going to happen right now with Shesterkin or Fox. And so I know there are offers out there. It just feels like Drury is saying, hey, if I'm giving up this guy who just proved at the Olympics, I'm so valuable for 3 more playoff runs at a pretty good cap hit. Like, I just need to make sure that I'm putting my team in a good position.
So the link with Trocheck and his...
Looked at my phone, guys.
Keep checking. Keep checking. Trocheck and Minnesota, Bill Guerin, the USA Hockey, of course, is there. But we know his preference is to stay in the East. Could Bill Guerin talk him out of that?
I think so. I think that the way Bill Guerin is operating right now is catching a lot of players' attention. Like, he's wheeling and dealing, and he's saying, like, hey, I'm not afraid to go for it in the same way that we're seeing with Buffalo, right? Like, this is a team that hasn't gotten out of the first round in a decade. You signed Kirill Kaprizov to this massive contract. You got to convince Quinn Hughes to stay this summer. Like, why not go for it right now? And so I don't think Minnesota is on his no trade list. Like, I haven't gotten that fully confirmed, but I know that there's a lot of respect between Vincent Trocheck and the style that he plays and Bill Guerin and what he's trying to operate there. And I have heard that there is a deal in place that Guerin obviously offered to Drury, a guy he knows well. They were at the Olympics together with Team USA. I think Drury's just like, okay, is this the best I can do? I think he really wants Yurov as a player. And from my understanding, Guerin has just said, like, nope, that's not what I'm willing to offer.
Yeah. So let's keep the focus on the tri-state area there in general. The Islanders, the Devils, these are teams that are kind of at different ends of where they thought they would be this year, maybe. It's been really interesting to watch both of them. How active do you think those two teams would be?
I think the Islanders are very active behind the scenes. Like, I think we don't really know about Matthew Darch and his tendencies, but like we can kind of guess by what we've seen so far and the fact that he came from Tampa, where obviously they're a franchise that does a bunch of wheeling and dealing. Like, I heard that there was some kind of conversation around Connor Garland and Tyler Myers going to the Islanders. Obviously that didn't happen with Myers now going to Dallas, but I wonder if there's still something there. Or those are the type of players they're looking at. And then with the Devils, like, it's hard for me to kind of gauge how active they're going to be. And I feel like they might not be that active at all. I know they know the position they're in, right? Like, it's highly disappointing. They're not going to make the playoffs. All they have to hang their hat on right now is like all the good publicity that Jack Hughes is bringing them. But you don't get good publicity into Stanley Cups. Like, they want to
good up here, Emily.
Here. I know, exactly. So, I think that Tom Fitzgerald's like open for hockey trades, and I think that's why you see some of his defensemen, names out there. But like, who's making real, true hockey trades right now? There's so many teams clustered. It's hard to navigate.
Yeah.
You're watching and listening to Emily Kaplan from ESPN. Does a terrific job covering the National Hockey League. Emily, as far as the Stanley Cup champions are concerned, the Florida Panthers, looking forward to next year already, I'm sure. A lot of their issues built around injuries led by Barkov. But what are you hearing on them? What are you hearing on the availability of anybody? But Bobrovsky seems to be the name out there that is most inviting for fans to wonder what's going to happen with him.
For sure. Well, this is a front office, right, that's been super aggressive. It has made some pretty brash decisions. So I know they're like thinking of all contingencies right now. It definitely feels like because of the way they came back from the break, they're going to be sellers, and they've got a couple pending UFAs I know teams would be interested in. AJ Greer is like perfect for the playoffs. I wouldn't be shocked to see him go. Bobrovsky is the one that I'm like having a bit of a harder time just getting a handle on. It's very obvious that his agent, Paul Theophanis, who has negotiated some very big deals lately, is not on the same page at all with Florida in terms of what a next contract could look like. He has some trade protection. I'm just wondering, like, who wants him that badly that would give up the right package to Florida to make this make sense? I think we have a team like Edmonton who already made their business. Everyone, kind of points to Vegas and Carolina to me, that those are the two teams that publicly will say like, no, we're good with our guys, but privately are like, can we get upgrades and what would it cost? So I have no idea how to handicap this. I'm kind of skeptical that he gets dealt at all, but it's Florida. It's a, again, a brash organization. I wouldn't be shocked either.
The last thing I'll ask you about is just these guys at the the very good teams, Colorado, Minnesota, and Dallas in the Central. All three of them in that sort of arms race. Curious to see, is Colorado going to be able to afford to make a big move? You had mentioned Kadri at some point. Do you think that they're done trying to add to what is already a very good team?
No, sorry. I thought the last question was going to be about USA Olympics. I can't believe you guys have moved on so quickly.
We are moving on. That never happened.
We moved on. I understand. No, it's all good. I do think that that's the arms race going on right now. Specifically Dallas and Minnesota. They're meeting in the first round. Dallas now has that Tyler Seguin money that they have access to spend. You see them get Tyler Myers. I don't think they're done. But Colorado's the sneaky one. And they made that trade with Sam Girard. Everyone I've talked to is okay, they're gearing up cap space, and for what? I know they've looked at Kadri. I sometimes wonder, when you're talking about the emotional stuff with Jerome McGinley's son coming back to Calgary, just the good vibes and good juju that they had in that Stanley Cup run, why not bring the band back together? So I think that's the one that I would love to see. I know it's been talked about. I just have no idea if we're going to see it, because I don't think Calgary, is in a position where they feel like they have to do anything, because he's under contract for a couple more years.
Anything else we've missed south of the border here, Emily, that also you're keeping an eye on?
Good question. I live in Chicago. We know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know how many more draft picks they need to amass. They're pretty good here.
Nick
I think
Foligno
Detroit. Yeah. Columbus is kind of interesting, because I think they were waiting to see how the games went this week. I think they'll probably just hold on to their UFAs and then figure it out. But Detroit for me, that's the one. And I think here in the States, with the Rangers out of the playoffs and the Toronto Maple Leafs selling, we need a big market. And I know that Detroit would do very well for us, if they make it through. And at last year's deadline, remember, all the guys were kind of looking around saying, we've earned reinforcements. Where are they?
Right.
And Stevie Y was nope, I'm staying the course. And so I'm really curious, because I think they've earned it even more with the way they played this year, if he finally gets it done, because they've got the assets to do it.
Yeah, no question. Everybody watching Detroit closely, especially after Dylan Larkin spoke after last season.
I love that by him.
Yes.
Right?
Great.
Way to actually say it out loud.
Way to challenge Stevie Y, right?
Mm-hmm.
Emily, great stuff as always. So appreciate your time. Thank you for doing this.
You guys rock. Right back to my phone. But
All
have
right.
a great
Thanks,
deadline.
Emily. Appreciate it.
Emily
Cheers.
Kaplan, ESPN.
Detroit has so much cap space. 3 firsts still. 3 years.
Drager is saying that the Utah thing is a thing, but no Teach. And then he said #sorry. So
You cowards.
no Teach.
That's no fun.
So he's saying he's off.
He said that
He's untouchable.
It could happen, but he's
Basically
not
saying
saying it's
Nobody
untouchable.
should
He's
be
not
untouchable.
in that trade, but no Teach. Emily mentioned something there that I thought hadn't really crossed my mind, but Bobrovsky Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just want to back up for a second, okay? On the goalie market. This is incredibly tough time for a goalie to pack up and go and pick a team that I don't know, is Bobrovsky going in there, and are you renting Bobrovsky for 2 months?
Yes.
And what is the upside for him, that he gets this massive 6-year deal spread over, whatever number he wants?
Weren't you raised as a boy that Stanley Cups are the most important thing?
The man's got, you know what?
He's untouchable already.
I don't, he's a legend down there. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
All 15 guys that follow the team love him.
Not a fan.
It's funny, right? Because there's this whole thing about you should be ruthless. You should trade guys when they're done. You should be trying to win. This isn't whatever. And then there's, the complete opposite of that is that makes no sense. Bob has been there. Bob's your dude. Bob is
Bob's
Florida
your uncle.
Panther. Bob is your uncle.
If maybe he's just we know he's built differently. We do. He's this machine. You'd think if you saw him and the way he looked after himself, he's 25 years old. He's just a freak that way.
Yeah.
If the man wants to play and he's got the energy to do it, go for it. But Vegas, again, he's staring at a guy who just signed a $6.25 million contract. Aiden Hill. What's it do to Aiden Hill watching Bobrovsky come in?
Vegas does seem like the ruthless, we don't care organization.
I know, but Aiden Hill's the Woody Harrelson meme. But then you're crying his eyes with his money. He's got a huge contract. It sucks.
You've turned him into Robin Leonard, where it's like, yeah, he's here, but he's like, oh, where is he? Okay,
don't talk about him. He's in here.
Don't talk about him.
Just walked in the room.
Right? It's like it's not the way. It's not the way you really should do business.
But to Bourne's
sign a guy to 6 years, $36 million, and then
when have they ever cared?
The whole time has been the team who everyone goes, oh, they're disrespecting their vets, and that's not a way to.
Where I don't get the disrespecting vets.
Oh, that's been the whole thing about how cutthroat they are, and they win their cup with the Misfits. They ship those guys out of
Walsh
town.
Put out like a painting of them stabbing a sword in the back
with a sword.
Okay. Maybe that's a good example. Yeah. Okay.
But they do what they need to do to win. And
this one's a tough one, though. This one's a tough one to pull off.
I agree that it is from a. Do you believe in Aiden Hill? Do you still think he can be?
Aiden Hill, they went out and got Carter Hart and signed him to a 2-year deal for a couple of million.
I got news for you.
He
stinks.
You got to kind of stop, though. It's not fantasy football here, right?
Is that what we're saying? They're people? That's the argument?
They're people, but you can't just
sports are moving in this direction, Kip. It sucks.
People that you believed in a short few weeks ago or months ago.
I listen, that makes sense on a human level, but I think sports are getting more and more ruthless. The jobs are harder to keep.
Anybody seriously see Bobrovsky going to Edmonton?
No.
Okay.
No chance. You go to the team you just beat twice in the final.
And they're in the same boat as Vegas. You kind of made your bet already, guys.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I disagree on Vegas. Bobrovsky is the exact type of move they make.
But I also...
He hasn't been, newsflash, he hasn't been very good this year.
Well, this is the thing. Bennington and Bobrovsky are so funny to have these conversations. It's like proven winner, playing terrible. Both guys. It's like, you want to bet on their past?
Here's the downside. Yeah. You still play terrible, and you fizzle out in the first round, and your stock potentially goes down.
Okay.
That's a danger.
For sure.
Bennington wants...
This is the don't go to the combine...
Bennington wants one new team, and he wants a chance to be there for the next 5 years. He's not going to babysit your prospects for a year.
So you think those guys want to get paid again before they try to do their thing somewhere else?
I think you got a better chance of getting a better contract if you shut it down. And if you think about the hockey...
Bennington doesn't care. He just wants to win.
Who's that?
Bennington.
Yeah, you got to get off this a little bit.
I think he wants money too. I think money helps.
I don't believe it either.
They got a better chance of protecting themselves even on a long run to stay home and rest, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Look at Bobrovsky. Look at the wear and tear he's had for the last 3 years. He's played an extra season over almost any other goalie. Stay home and rest, bud. You've earned it.
It's funny, like
you're right.
Not
That's a good point.
I don't know if I make it a nationalistic thing, but you got Bobrovsky wants to get paid, and you got Panarin wants to get paid. I'm more inclined to think that Bennington has been paid and would go somewhere and try to win. I think it's more important.
Like Strick says, he wants to come home to Toronto and win.
If he's going to Montreal or Carolina, if he commits to Carolina or Montreal, it's like, I'm coming to be the goalie for the next 5 years, bud. You're not just bringing me in for a year so I can groom that guy, and then I'm out looking for another job.
Totally. I'm not going to keep it warm for Fowler.
I'm not working that way, bud. I'm going to one team. They're going to sign me to a 6-year deal at X amount, and that's my exit plan.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think
So they'll be going in with Hart and Aiden Hill as their goalies.
And you know what, Bobrovsky for 5 years after that doesn't help you. That's not
exactly.
That's not a solution.
So they're not going to give me the contract I want, right? So why would I go to Vegas?
Well, just if you're willing to
prove myself.
No, you think you're going to have a chance to win cups, and it's better than being.
Have you seen Vegas? Well, 2 words: big and slow.
But a lot of their numbers suggest that they've been pretty good for a lot of this year. Can't get a save. The goaltending stunk.
They're the Ottawa Senators of the West.
Well, yeah, except they get to play in the layup line Pacific, so they get to play in the
Sens
playoffs.
would have 1,000 points if they were
the
in
best
the
team in that division.
Jam-packed Sammy show today.
Woo!
David Pagnotta.
Well said.
Emily Kaplan.
Andy Strickland.
Andy Strickland. And you bumped Rick Bowness, but he's a legend. How could you bump Rick Bowness?
I did hate doing it because I love Bones.
Wow.
I hated it.
All right. We'll get him on soon.
We'll get him next week.
We will.
Fill
All
some
right.
airwaves.
I can't stop.
Still
reading
got some
the
work to
internets
do
right
before we hit that Friday 3 p.m. deadline. How many games tonight on tap, Sammy?
5.
5. Watch whatever you want to watch, and we're back tomorrow on The Real Kyper and Bourne Show.